Welcome back to all of my food warriors. Today we are making an absolutely fantastic salmon dish. This is the salmon dish for those who truly love salmon. Salmon is one of the healthiest fish you can have. Tons of omega-3 fatty acids, really, really good for you. Lots of good fats, high in protein, an absolutely fantastic meal option whenever it's available. And I'm telling you, today I found an absolutely spectacular side of salmon at my local fishmonger. And today I'm going to make what is an absolute classic recipe. I'm talking restaurant quality, restaurant style salmon in literally 10 to 15 minutes, including all the prep. Couldn't be simpler, couldn't be easier. This is all about technique and really, really good ingredients. And the way I choose my salmon, I want to have a good bit of fat. This is an all organic salmon raised without any antibiotics, any hormones. So this is the natural stuff. This is really the good stuff. And this whole side of salmon will feed easily 8 people. So I'm going to make a double batch because I do want to have leftovers for later on in the week. But like I always say, you cook once, eat multiple times. Whenever you find something that is this beautiful as a raw ingredient, treat it simply, treat it carefully, don't ruin it, and it will speak for itself on the plate. This really is the dish for salmon lovers who absolutely love salmon. We start with a great ingredient, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this up. This is skinless, boneless salmon. Now, yes, there may be the odd bone, and I usually kind of look around and feel for any bones, and if I do feel any bones, I'll go in there with some tweezers and I'll pull those out. But this is skinless, boneless salmon. It is one whole fillet. This is Atlantic salmon. You see all these beautiful white striations. That's the fat inside the salmon. That's where all the good stuff is. All the omega-3 fatty acids. Really, really good stuff. So like I say, this will easily feed something of this size. You're talking, this is about probably a 2-foot side of salmon. This will easily feed, I would say, 8 people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into little sections. I've got my tail piece. Now this one requires a little slightly different cooking technique because it is thinner than the rest. But really, when you're portioning up your salmon, you want somewhere between, for a main course, I'd say 4 or 5 ounces of salmon is a perfect portion size for one individual. So we're just going to get this guy right in the middle of our board here, and we're going to cut, there we are, some beautiful portions of salmon. Like I said, this will easily feed 8 people. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6. Get that in. I mean, this is, at its fattest part, this is about 1 inch thick. So this is, it's about 2 inches across. The way I'm cutting my pieces here, 2.5 inches across. And this, like I said, this is easily enough for 8 people. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do with these is I'm just going to season them very, very simply with a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm going to get my pan on high because I want this to go into a very, very hot pan. And in some of these pieces here, you see you've got this really, really thin belly piece. In order for that not to burn, I simply fold that over to make the salmon a little bit more uniform. And that way, there we are. That way it cooks more evenly, it cooks more consistently, and we don't get any very, very thin, overly crispy pieces. There we are. Absolutely spectacular. I'm just going to give my hands a quick wash. And like I said, this is seasoned very, very simply. Couldn't be simpler. Salt and pepper, and we have a few ingredients to season this further in the pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to season, let's see, I'll probably cook 4 and 4 just to make this even. So what I'll do is I'll just move this guy here, and I will look to get 4 pieces that are in and around the same size. Very, very light dusting. I have here just a fine sea salt. We don't want to over salt this. We are going to season both sides. But the technique here is we're going to cook the salmon about 75-80% on one side because we want that really, really hard sear, that beautiful golden crust. That's what's going to give us a beautiful texture and an absolutely phenomenal flavor. So we'll just give this, like I said, light dusting of salt. We've got some freshly cracked black pepper as well. And like I said, I'm going to cook this in a couple of different batches. There we are. Absolutely beautiful. Now what I have here is a pan heating up. I can feel the heat starting to come through. I want to cook this in a high heat oil. So an oil that has a very, very high smoke point. So something like canola oil, vegetable oil, grapeseed oil, avocado oil. There's a whole slew of them. This is avocado oil that I happen to have. This is completely colorless, flavorless, very, very neutral oil, but it's great for high heat applications. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to give probably 3-4 tablespoons of oil in the pan, and I'm going to get my 4 pieces of salmon to start and put this right in the oil. Now before I do, I'm just going to let that pan heat up for 30 more seconds. I have 4 cloves of garlic, and all I want to do is give these just a light crush. There we are. These are going to go in the pan. They're going to flavor the oil. I'm telling you, this is so simple, but so good. So literally just break that up a little bit. So there we are. The flavor of the garlic will bless the oil as it's cooking, but it's a very, very subtle garlic flavor. We don't want the garlic, which can be quite strong, to overpower any of the flavoring of the salmon. So over to the pan, I'm going to take my first 4 pieces, and I'm going to lay these away from me in the pan, because I don't want any of that oil coming back on me. There we are. So I can hear that start to sizzle already. We've got 1, we've got 2, there we are. I've got my 3rd one here. There we are. And I'll take my 4th one and I'll put it right across the bottom here. There we are. So I just want to make sure that these are starting to sear. There we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to season this with a little bit of salt and pepper on the other side, and I'm going to give this a good 4 to 5 minutes on medium-high heat. I just gave my hands a quick wash. I've seasoned the top side of the salmon with a little bit of salt and pepper, and what I'm going to do now is just take those whole cloves of garlic, and I'm just going to throw them right in the pan. So I want to get the flavor of that garlic, like I said, into the oil. And what I also want to do, I have a few sprigs here of fresh thyme. These are just whole sprigs of thyme. I'm going to throw these into the oil as well. And this is just another layer of flavor as these are cooking. Now these might sputter and splash a little bit as you put them into the oil, because those thyme leaves do have a fair bit of water content. Don't worry about it, don't be shy about it. We just want to get these thyme leaves and thyme sprigs sprinkled all over the pan. That thyme, that garlic, that will flavor the oil as it cooks. You will not believe the output of this until you finish it. I'm going to give this another 3-4 minutes. I will see you in that time. All right, we are back. We have given our salmon a good 3 to 4 minutes. We've been disciplined. We haven't poked it around. We haven't sat there turning it left and right. We want to give that at least a good 3-4 minutes on that high heat to develop that beautiful crust. Now what we want to do is remove our garlic. Now you can see our garlic has become a little golden brown. We don't want to take it anywhere past that, because as that garlic starts to burn, it gets very, very bitter, and that will impart that bitterness to your dish. So we definitely don't want that. We're going to remove all of our herbs before we flip our fish. This thyme has done its work. It has done its job. And I guarantee you, you will taste this in the final product. So we just want to get these extra sprigs out of the way. Otherwise, these will burn as well as we finish this up. So there we are. These beautiful crispy herbs make a fantastic garnish as well, so definitely don't throw those away. They will certainly be useful as we plate the dish. Now what I'm going to do, I've got my fish slice and a secondary spatula here just to give myself a little bit of a hand. I want to make sure that, oh, I've got a little bit of time here. There we are. We just want to flip that fish very gently. There we are. Oh, and that is what I'm talking about. Look at that beautiful sear. That is where all the flavor is. And that's what we get when we allow just a little bit of time for the heat to do its work. So now we're just going to finish this off literally 30 more seconds and we are done. In that 30 seconds, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a beautiful green salad to go along with this. Beautiful piece of seared salmon, nice green salad, loaf of crusty bread. That's dinner. An absolutely beautiful dinner. It's healthy, it's light, and it's absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do with my dressing, as I always do, is I start off with just a little bit of honey. And honey just takes away that really aggressive bite from the vinegar. So literally what I'm looking for this size bowl of salad is maybe a tablespoon or so of honey. I don't want a sweet dressing, but I do want just something there to lessen some of that sharpness from the acid. In this dressing, what I'm doing is I'm using a couple of different vinegars. I'm going to be using some white wine vinegar, and a little bit of white balsamic vinegar. This white balsamic vinegar is a little bit lighter than the white wine vinegar. There we are. And then I'm just going to give that a little bit of pinch of salt, pinch of pepper, and I'm going to take just a tiny bit of grainy mustard, maybe a teaspoon. There we are. And to that I'm going to add a very, very good quality olive oil. This is a new bottle. I'm going to take this seal off here. There we are. And what I'm going to do is, there we are, turn the heat off. My salmon is done. And I want to give this a good bit of olive oil. There we are. The ratio that I like a good 1.5 parts olive oil to 1 part vinegar and other items. I'm just going to give this a quick whisk. There we are. We want to get this fully emulsified. And our mustard will certainly help us do that. Our honey will help us do that. There we are. And before we dress our salad, we're going to give this, oh, love it. Love it. There we are. Now we don't want to drown this in dressing. We want to have just enough dressing to coat the leaves in our bowl. What we have here are some hearts of romaine as well as some spring mix that we've mixed together. There we are. And I will give this a quick toss. Just enough to coat our leaves. Absolutely fantastic. The weather is warming up. We all want to be eating a little bit healthier, a little bit lighter. I think over the course of the winter we tend to eat a little bit heavier, but now that the summer months are upon us, or at least the spring months are upon us, we have a much different array and variety of vegetables and produce at the supermarkets and at farmers markets when they finally open up. And it's just a great way to diversify the diet a little bit from some of the heavier stuff that we've been eating over the winter. Our salmon is perfectly done. We're going to get our dish. There we are. Now let's just plate this up. We'll plate up one portion here. Here we are. Get this beautiful fat piece right there. Boom. Just like that. Let's get ourselves a nice serving of salad, and we will give this a taste. Now the beauty of these spring mixes is they're a collection of a multitude of different lettuces. In this case, I've got red leaf lettuce, I've got Boston lettuce, I've got baby romaine, I've got spinach, I've got arugula, all kinds of different varieties. It gives you a great contrast, great bit of texture, and a great bit of color on the plate as well. Now, I do need to go in there. My favorite part, my absolute favorite part, is right down here by the belly. It's beautifully crispy, and this is my absolute favorite part. And so I look at my salmon in here, It's just cooked through. It's beautifully moist. It's beautifully flaky. I gotta give this a try. That's hot. You absolutely get a little bit of everything that was in the pan. This is the type of salmon you don't need any lemon, none of that to garnish. If you want a little squeeze of lemon, by all means, knock yourself out. But the flavor of the salmon is so good. It's such great quality salmon. It shines through. Fantastic. You get a little bit of that background hum of the garlic. You definitely get a little bit of that floral note from the thyme. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. And we'll get a little bit of the salad just to cleanse the palate. This is springtime cooking at its absolute finest. Like I said, beautiful piece of crusty bread, absolutely spectacular meal. Ready in minutes, unbelievably healthy, just tastes absolutely fantastic. Do like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Do ring the bell so you get access to all the content as we release it. I do hope you try this. Really, really simple, really, really good. This is Coach Joe. I'll see you on the next one.